When I think of our team personally, I think of our team, I'm pretty sure you feel the same, but like we treat our team like family. And one thing I've always said since the beginning too is just like our vibe attracts our tribe. I always say that. I say to our kids now too, and it's just like attracting the right people I think is really important. And I want to attract people that want to stay with us, and I'm such a relationship person. I think I'm picky about who we hire, but at the same time, I feel like I instantly know, like with my gut, whether or not they're a right fit. So when we've hired, yeah, why don't you tell the story of Topher, like when he was our first hire, our first employee.
Yeah, so Topher, he was in college at the U of M. It was really early on, like I'd probably been a year or two into,
Being solo.
Yeah, being a contractor full time. He reached out
via social media.
Yeah, via Instagram.
Which we never saw.
Yeah, we didn't even get to it for like 5 months or whatever.
Yeah.
And then finally replied, but he was like really open, and he's like, hey, I've been following you. I love what you're doing. I don't have a ton of like knowledge in construction or carpentry. I grew up with like a dad who wasn't like really handy. So like everything was really new to him. And I thought that was pretty cool. Like for a younger kid to like, want to get into like, working with your hands, where like at the time people didn't find it quote unquote cool. Yeah. And it was like, oh, you need to go get a 9-to-5 desk type job. And he was like, I want to do that. But he was going to the U of M for psychology. Now has translated perfectly into being a project manager. Yes. It really worked out too, because like he wanted to learn, and I was able to like kind of teach him. Yeah. And it was a slow transition, because he was like, he worked part-time, and then when he graduated, then he was like, can I come on full-time? But it was really like kind of like molding him into being like another version of me. Yeah. Like he had no background to where it was like, oh, I already know how to do that. Yeah. Oh, I don't do it that way. I do it this way. Oh, yeah. Yep. So like he was like really teachable. Yeah. And yeah, I kind of just led by example. Yeah, and I'd say with all of our team, everyone who's started, they've kind of been molded with us, right? Like they haven't had a lot of experience of what we do. Well, they've come from like a different background or different education other than like design or construction or whatever it might be. Yeah, and they've been curious, right, or intrigued, or they've been a part of our community for a while. And well, everyone came from social media. Right, so they knew about us, knew how we worked, knew that we're kind of innovators, that we think differently. And so, yeah, they all came through social media, everyone on our team. There's people we haven't had luck with, but for the most part, there's people we have had luck with. We've only had to let go of 2 people. Fortunately, a lot of colleagues go through them very quickly, and we try to, like we always say, we're building humans, and we're trying to build character and build, I always keep saying, I hate when I say we're trying to change the industry, but that's truly what we're trying to do, and with that comes the right people. And well, I think being like thoughtful of their life other than work. Right. Like we try and be lenient. We let them do like vacation when they want to take it. Yep. Pretty much live their life and use the company to make their life better. Yep. We're not like really hardcore about like, I don't know, rules and things like that. And I would say too, like we've never like fully had a conversation about like, oh, what kind of team are we building or where are we going? It's just kind of like happened naturally with us, which is kind of interesting to think about now. But yeah, we get to know our team on a personal basis. So we get to know truly who they are, what they like to do. We've been through really hard things with them personally, and we've done everything that we can, I feel, from Construction of Style. Like we want C2S to help them live the life that they want to live. Again, going back to like we've pride ourselves on being an open book since we started Construction of Style. We've done that with our team. Like we've been so open with everything, like finances, what people are making, all of it, because to us, we're like, we don't have anything to lose. If they see the bottom line and exactly where things are being spent, what is happening, then they know the harder they work, the more money they're going to make.
But with that, we're going through that kind of right now. It's just like not everyone also understands all of it, even though we are open. So again, that's kind of the business mentality. One thing, it's like people are either a business entrepreneur mindset or their employee mindset. And while you need a little bit of both, I think we do attract people that are a little bit more entrepreneurial. And you always say this, but it's like, we came up with our name. I remember you telling me, like, you don't want it to be like Molitor Construction, like our name, even though we're very proud of our name.
Yeah, I just don't like when companies are tied to a name.
Yeah. So I think, but with that was so smart, because I was like, oh my gosh, like immediately I thought of Molitor or something. And then now I'm so grateful because I'm like, our goal is to sell our company. Like, long before our kids are to the age of working, you know, so that we can be doing other things. Like, that's why we have multiple companies.
Or you can have, like, you can own it, but have other people kind of be the front of it.
Yeah, and act as owners. So I think we also have that mindset where we're nurturing our team to want to take over, like have the entrepreneurial mindset to take over part of the company. Like, not just one, all of them. Like, have it be a little bit more whatever that looks like, which I think too, which is kind of cool. It's like no one knows the answer to that, because we've been talking to so many people trying to figure out like what that looks like, how to build that. And no one knows, like, there's no direct answer. So we're, again, now talking through this, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're figuring out something new that not a lot of people are doing. And I think it's so sad, especially again in our industry. It's like we work so hard, physically, mentally, all of it, building homes. And then I see so many people in this industry. It's like, oh, time to retire. And they shut their doors and that's it. Where I'm like, you have sellable assets. You're just not thinking of it that way. And you should start thinking of that in the beginning. And we're
you have
doing
to do
that
it in
with
the
our
beginning.
team.
Because, like, with construction,
You're building like a brand or like
no, you're not. Like, you're pretty much providing yourself a job.
Oh, yeah. Right.
But you're not building a company or a brand. Mm-hmm. To where, like, if you were not there, what is your company worth to another person?
Right.
Like, and that's where, like, Lonnie's Plumbing, without Lonnie,
yeah,
like, the one-man show,
or
maybe he has two people, like, the company isn't worth anything.
Yeah, exactly. So I think on the daily, we're, like, including our team in that. We're including them in conversations. We're including them on what we're doing, how we're doing things, why we're doing things.
Yeah, I think including them with, like, everything, because we don't make any kind of change without
their buy-in.
Yeah, talking to the whole team and, like, getting their approval, if you may. Like, sure, there are things that we do without that. Yeah. But we make them feel as much of the company as we can.
Yeah, I would say that's funny too, because multiple times people, you know, will call me, I'm sure it happens to you, but to be like, you know, think I will be the one. And I'm like, you're talking to the wrong person. Like, don't come to me for this. Go to Kayla for this. Like, she is the one that you need to get the sign off on, not me. Yeah. So I'm like, that is all her. If she says green light, then it's green light. So I think including them in those leadership level decisions, even if you're a small team, which we are, I think is how you get them to stay and remain, and obviously treating them right too. And I think sometimes with that, it's like, it's not all about the pay. I think that kind of stuff goes so much further than money sometimes. Whereas I think the mindset used to be, it's all the money and not the other things as much, because you know, have to be at that. And so I think, especially with the generations growing up and stuff, they're invested in so many different things that have so much more meaning when it comes to their time and how they work and when they work and other priorities, which also can get us into trouble, because at the end of the day, we are running a company, and if things are short, we're the first ones to get not paid. So it's a double-edged, it's a hard balance that we run into. But I would say for the most part, though, I'm glad that we're taking this approach. And I know here and there you had hesitations.
To clarify that a little bit more, like, our team doesn't know what each other make, really. But
yes. We're private about their personal things.
Yeah, but I think that should be, like,
clarified. Yep.
We're open in the sense of, like,
buckets.
We show, here's what we make here, like, in each individual thing. And we, like, tell them, like, okay, we need to hit these numbers or there's no money for
Yes.
a new vehicle or you to make more money or whatever it might be. And then we can kind of like lean back on them to be like, if you want to make more money, like you need to come to us with
Right.
a how
Right.
and what you're going to bring to the table.
Yep.
Like get that buy-in by them having
Yep.
like their word mean
Right.
something.
Yeah, absolutely. And piggybacking off that too, I'd say is, because a lot of times I've been asked as well, like, oh, it's that time of year. Are you doing reviews and all this? And I'm like, no, that's more work for me. Like when you hire people, they should be alleviating work from you. And so even with that, it's like stuff like that we've removed from our plate. We don't do because we're like, if they want to do something, they can have the opportunity to do that no matter what time of year it is. If they want to add something to the company, if they want to make more money, that means we also need to make more revenue. And so they need to be coming to us with what that is, what it looks like, and how do we get there. And so I think, if anything, that's only benefited us too. And I think too, like things we learn in that way by surrounding ourselves with other like-minded individuals that are doing it the same or differently, and bringing that back to them, to educate themselves on different things and to push the envelope a little bit. They see the value, like whether they like it or not. And for the most part, I think they appreciate what we're doing and why we're doing it. I'd say the other thing too is like, sometimes, again, this is old school mentality maybe, or I've worked for enough other people, but it's like having that rule of like, your team is not your friends. Like you need to draw that so you don't get too emotionally attached, where I think we're like, nope, they're not only our friends, but they're our family. And because to me, I'm like, we spend more time with them than we do with one another or with our family. And so to me, it just, I think, helps to create a better life, a better work environment. And the more you know and vulnerable you are, I think the better kind of life that you're living. And so I think that too is just like, then we have a different sense of empathy for them and vice versa. And so they want to show up for the brand, for the company. Like they are a walking representation of it just as much as we are. And I think that's because we're on that personal level. So it's not for everyone, but I think if that's what you're trying to build and the culture that you're trying to create and the legacy that you're trying to leave, those are a few of the things that we're doing and how it's working.
I think like we are kind of in agreement that we don't want like a gigantic team.
Yeah.
Like we want to keep like a tighter knit.
We want to be a lean and mean, clean team, fighting machine.
Yeah. Sure. Nailed it.
When choosing our team, I am a very much energy person and a gut intuition person. So a lot of times when we've met them, I was trying to think too, when we hired Kayla, because she had reached out, and I was like, yeah, and just wasn't the right time with cash flow and needs. And then all of a sudden I was like, we need her. And I'm like, you're hired. And I'd never even met her. I don't even know if I had her phone number. Like I emailed her and I was like, I can't even find your phone number, but I just want to let you know you're hired. When can you start? And then I'm like, did you even talk to her? Any of it? But I knew and I knew from the first time I had a phone call with her, I was like, oh. And like, with our team, we've done Enneagrams, we've done all of them. And so we do them with the team, but I've always thought about doing it like for them to qualify. But I think because I'm so in tune with a lot of those things, like human design and all that.
Yeah, we've done all those like after they've been on the team.
Right, but I'm saying I know what those are. Yeah.
Which is funny because like in the end, every time we've done them, like we all kind of like balance each other out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And like, again, we didn't design it like that or try and do that.
No.
But it just, I don't know.
We've known the gaps that we're missing. And then when we've met people on the team, and even Jill, she's another great example. She was a client of ours. Mm-hmm. And we were doing her project. And since the day we met her, I was like, I love you. And then we just got each other. We were in sync. And the whole time we were doing the project, she kept being like, I think you guys need me. And we weren't even sure what for. Do you remember? And I was kind of like, yeah, maybe we do. Like, what do you want to do here? Yeah. And then we kept the conversation going. And then we got lunch one day. And she was like, this is what I can do.
Right. So again, like,
yeah,
what we were just talking about, like she brought
an
idea to us and was like, here's where I think you're lacking. Here's where I can like help you. And yeah, now it's like,
I can't imagine life without her.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did we even do it?
I mean, we probably barely did it.
We blew through we paid for kitchen remodels. That's how we did it. So yeah, just like on the operational financial controller side, like she came in on that way and she's like, I can help streamline this. I can do this. I can take this off your plate. And it was something that we didn't have. Actually, for the most part, besides like Topher in a way, like all of these were new positions created. Yeah. Like even our most recent hire, we have never had a sales coordinator before, never have handed that off. And now we're exploring that and it feels really good. It's also scary, but it's a total new role that we're like, yeah, we were lacking that. We do need that. Sure. And so, yeah, you're so right. Like everyone's brought something to us and has almost sold us as to why they should be part of the culture and team and why we need it. And we're like, done.
Yeah, it's like a mutual buy-in from the beginning.
Right. And not the other way of like, oh, we've never sent out a thing being like, we're hiring.
Yeah.
Fill our inbox. Because I think, too, that's always come with like time. Like we need some needs right now on the Neon Lion, our sister company. And I'm like, I'm scared to even put it out there because I'm like, I don't have time to filter through people. But I know what we need, and I'm just kind of waiting for that moment of someone to come in, and then I see it. I'm like, you're it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like how we vet our clients in a way, too. Like if they found us on Google and know nothing about who we are as people or know anything about our company, they'd never pan out.
Yeah.
We're like, if we shot an email or like a thing out and on a job listing,
right,
and we're like, looking for blah, 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 like, who knows who it would get, but the likelihood of them fitting in probably wouldn't be very good.
I know. That's good. So we're still just putting that energy out there and hoping that the right people continue to find us when we need it, right? And at the right time.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, thanks for listening. If you guys have any questions when it comes to team and buying in and having others buy into your brand and company, make sure to drop us a comment on any of the channels and we will address them. And any other topics of conversation, let us know. And we'll be sure to chat about that on upcoming episodes.